Hi, and welcome to Elicia Woodford's Resource Vibe. This is your trusted podcast directory for master level spiritual healing, guidance, and business resources. Today, I am so honored to be in the energy of a true visionary leader and for her to share her wisdom with all of you. If you're a healer or coach and you want to grow your business with simplicity and heart, this episode is for you. Our guest today is incredible. Dr. Terri Levine is the leading expert at the top of her field. She's been named one of the top 10 coaching gurus in the world for decades and the top female coach in the world. And she's so much more than a business coach. She's also a business consultant, life coach, clinical and positive psychologist. She founded Heartrepreneur 30 years ago. She's been helping over 8,000 business owners. And before that, she even created and sold 7 multimillion-dollar businesses and was the CEO of a healthcare company in the US. Like Wonder Woman. I'm just so grateful to have Terri here. So Terri also is just an incredible leader, and she's a keynote speaker, a popular TV personality. She's the host of her podcast, Live Well, Earn Well, for coaches and consultants, and she's written and published over 40 books. I don't know how you've done it, but you are obviously designed to be the leader for businesses, for owners, for entrepreneurs. And so Terry's been helping entrepreneurs move from being busy to effective, focusing on a very simple system that creates more impact, influence, and income. We need that now more than ever is a simple system and authenticity from the heart. So I invited Terri to be a resource for all of you because I personally wish I had met Terri when I started my coaching business 20 years ago. I went through a couple different year-long coaching programs. This was over 10 years ago, and I spent a ton of money, time, effort on complex systems that I ended up scratching after I left those programs anyway. And then after I learned more about Terry's approach, I'm very much aligned with it. Did a similar structure with my coaching business, but I also know I wasted a lot of money and got caught up in trying to make things perfect on my website and these long sales pages and paying copywriters. I mean, a lot. I did it all. and I see what Terry's doing, and it is what we all need. So Terri is the most experienced, effective business coach I've met. What I love about her approach is that she keeps it real, simple, and authentic. She's not just teaching marketing, she's actually disrupting the transactional nature of business entirely to put the heart back into it. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Terri Levine.
Wow, that was quite an introduction, and I thank you for that, and I'm very excited to be with you.
Well, that is all you. You are just so incredible, really. I'm so grateful for you to be here and share what you do and how you help, and I'm excited to talk to you about it all. So let's start with, what does it mean to be a heartrepreneur?
Oh, yeah.
Especially in 2026. What year are we?
Yeah.
In this
Yeah,
year.
this particular year, I mean, there's so much going on, and there's so many people teaching. You've got to hustle, you've got to grind, you've got to put your head down, you've got to start a launch, you need a campaign, you need email, you need funnels, you need a website, you need more social media, you need more posts. I mean, we go on and on. Today in 2026, business has become very overwhelming. And a lot of people that I talk to are stressed, they're frustrated, and quite frankly, they're confused. And they end up sitting behind a computer screen all day trying to do all of these things and not getting a lot of results. So, Heartrepreneur really is about doing business differently, authentically, transparently, and with integrity. What does that mean? It means we don't use AI to write our posts or AI to generate our photos because we know doing business is human to human. We do business with people we know, like, and trust, of which AI is none of that. We don't need to post all day, launch, campaign, funnels, we don't even need a website. It's a very simple way of doing business, and it is for those who really are coming from their heart and that have a why, a mission, a legacy they want to leave, a movement they want to create, not just being transactional. Long answer.
Well, perfect answer. It is so great and it's so refreshing. I think everyone right now is just feeling so sick of AI as well. Like just the amount of the images. I mean, it has increased the amount of generic stuff it's spewing out now is like increasing as well, or it's like doesn't get things at all anymore. And yeah, I think everyone is craving real people who are just themselves and speak from their heart. And it's like we really need to move away from this image that people have been projecting or thinking they need to project on social media. And yeah, so and using social media, I think people are moving away or, confused about that too. Are you
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
finding
Let me speak to that.
yeah.
So, I have a brand new client just with me about a week. And she said, should I send you all of my links to my social media? And out of curiosity, I said, yes. I couldn't believe what I opened up, right? So any platform and every platform, even obscure ones or ones I didn't even think people used anymore, she has a presence on all of them. So I said to her, how much money do you make from this? She said, nothing. I said, how much time do you spend posting? She said, about, wait for it, 2 hours a day.
Wow.
I said, wow, that's really interesting. I said, so I spend 20 minutes a day serving my community. I don't do anything else. And for almost 12 years, I think this is year 12, we've done 1 million a year of our income organically from my community. So I don't hide behind my computer posting. Instead, I'm actually having authentic conversations with real people, meeting amazing people, whether or not we do business together. I'm enjoying every moment of it. She was absolutely shocked. So we boiled it down to one platform, which is the whole system I teach, one community, one platform, one document, and one offer. And I think it was just 2 weeks ago now. And she sent me a message this morning and said, I literally have my life back. And I said,
Ugh.
right. Because this nonstop posting, 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 at some point you're posting to the void. And instead of actually having real heart to heart communication with people who might potentially collaborate with you, do business with you. So I'm anti AI. I'll stand in that platform. And I am all anti spending a lot of time, money, and energy on social media and doing ads in addition to that on
Oh,
social.
yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, because I think a lot of times when people are starting, and also for people who've been around like me and a lot of people I know, things have changed. Things that were working before aren't
Mm,
working anymore. The lead magnets and the free webinar and those things used to work in the sales sequences. And now things just aren't. And so I think a lot of times the tendency is to create more content and try to perfect things and that really isn't working. So I yeah love your simple system that creates connection. So one group, one offer, one Google Doc. And so this is so perfect for people just starting out, entrepreneurs starting out, and also you work with established entrepreneurs as well. What do you
Exactly.
find yeah, what are you finding, the people who come to you, what is the range and what are they experiencing? And
Good question. I talk to all kinds of people in all different kinds of industries and all around the world. And in general, people are finding that people are getting a little scared to spend money. And the world is in a lot of chaos right now, to say it very mildly. And it makes people nervous. And my experience is this: you can't think about that and you can't worry about that because you can't control that. You can only deal with what you can control. So I put the same offers out that I have been putting out forever. And some of them are very reasonable and some of them are much higher because it involves a lot more of my time. I find buyers in all areas because I don't worry about someone else's pocketbook. I know my offers create massive value. And if you really want to work with me and really want the results, make the investment. And if you can't, I totally get that. And that's okay. So the thing I always tell people is don't stress over other people's pocketbooks. So I hear a lot about not people not having enough money. And the second thing I hear a lot is my content gets ignored. Yeah, if you're not really doing content from your heart that has a purpose, yeah, it is going to get ignored. So you want to be conscious of what kind of content you put out, which is why I put out my own content. I have a team. I put out my own content because only I can speak in my voice from my own heart. So that's
Mm,
one of the things that I have to undo for a lot of clients. And we've got clients all over. Since you asked, we've got people who are newer startups, and then we've got people doing 300, 400,000 a year or more that are just tired of spending hours and hours working. And so the name of the program, as you know, is Live Well, Earn Well. So I help them shift their life so they can live well and earn well at the same time.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, so anyone who's starting out, who's not really making money or who has made money and it's not working anymore. Or if you're making a lot of money and you just have no other life besides your
Exactly.
job. And yeah, yeah, that's great. I wanted to go back. You said one of the blocks was the money, what's happening in the world, and people are tighter right now with
Yeah.
their spending. And so is that, I want to just clarify the block around people that you're working with that you need to move through about the people that hire them. They think that people don't have money to hire them. Is that what you were
So I'll say yes to that. And I'll
saying?
also say I've spoken on a lot of stages in the last few months, and almost every member of the audience seems to have these same concerns: money and fear around money. It's one reason I don't watch the news or read the news. It's one reason that I don't look at like political stuff on social media. I can only control what I can control, my little world, right? I can't control the price of gas or the price of groceries. I can control, as an entrepreneur, how much money I make so that as prices are rising, I'm not stressing over that because I'm simply making more money to compensate for that. And I think that's the gap that people don't understand. And then they get scared. And then they create a lot of fear and a lot of stories for themselves. And, people tend to hang out with like minded people. So if I've got some story about the world and it's a money thing, I'm going to talk to a bunch of other people who are going to reinforce that. I always say, look at the people you hang with, think about what you all talk about. I like to hang with people who are lifting other people up, and I tend not to hang with people who are doom and gloom.
Yeah, and creating limits.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Yeah. And so what other blocks, common blocks are you seeing with people that you're working with or people that want to work with you and they're just having some resistance?
Yeah, so I see this with my prospects, and then my clients see this with their
Mm.
prospects. One is a fear that the program or the service is not gonna deliver the results. We've all been there. I spent a ton of money like you did with a bunch of coaches and consultants and mentors, and I went and looked back and went, I got nothing from that. I got nothing from that. Right. So that's one. The other is sometimes we have a fear within ourselves. Well, who am I? Who am I to charge those prices? Or who am I to claim I'm an expert? So some of it is our own stories. And a lot of those stories run unconsciously. I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving. Money is the root of all evil, which truly isn't what the expression says. There's
Mm.
a lot of internal stories. So, one of the first things that I do, whether I'm working with a client, talking to a prospect, or really meeting someone who has a lot of these stories, is helping them take a look at those stories. And by the way, I tried to do this for myself with my own stories 30 years ago. And I completely failed because you can't see your own stories or hear your own stories. So you need to find someone who holds that mirror up to you. I'll be very transparent. I'll share this. One of my coaches years and years ago, my dad lived with me after my mom passed, and I was getting really frustrated. Never had anyone live with my husband and myself, and it was just really frustrating. And I brought up something, and the coach got real quiet and he said, and how did you become so righteous? And I was like, what? No one's ever shared that with me. And at first I had that ouchie, like, "Ugh." And then I really took a look at myself and I looked in the mirror and I went, I am really righteous when it comes to my dad. I'm smarter. I have more education. Duh, 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 duh. It changed everything. And I was able to have a much closer relationship with my.
Mm. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
so sweet and such a great example of why we all need support. It's so true. We cannot see our blocks. We can't see our blind spots. We can't see our conditioning. That's my whole mission with the Resource 5 is to provide to encourage people to get support, to not, to shift the belief that we have all the answers inside and we just need to go within and connect to our truth, which is true to an extent.
Right.
But when we're experiencing blocks or patterns, there's things that we need help with. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just ran a retreat, as you know, in Costa Rica, and I had really 19 of the most amazing women. And one of the women who came, the very first, we did a coaching session as a group. She said, well, I don't have anything. Like, my life is great. I don't have anything to even bring up. Okay. So as we went around, I think we're like person number three. This woman is like raising her hand in the air. It's like, yes. She starts crying hysterically.
Um,
She goes, I have a ton of stuff to bring up. I don't know why I said that. And it allowed her to have that breakthrough. If she
oh,
was just sitting at home, she'd be like, nope, nothing to work on, all good. As she started to feel safer and hear other women in the, I call it sisterhood, that she could relate to, she realized she wasn't alone. And by the end of the retreat, she probably had the biggest breakthrough of anyone in those 7 days. And I've seen her since, and she's still like, look at me, I'm completely different. I'm like, no,
oh,
you're not different. You're just allowing yourself to show up differently. You're the same person.
oh,
So, this is why I have had coaches and consultants that I personally hire to take a look at me and to keep me on the mark, so to speak, in my personal as well as in my business life, because we can't see what we can't see.
for sure. 100%. And yeah, just we all need reminders too of things we do know we forgot that about just even like the mindset thing that you
Yeah.
said in the beginning. It's like we know we're not limited and it's who we're around influences us. And it's just that reminder of like, oh yeah, I can shift out of this and see that the world is abundant and there are other people who are in that energy and belief and vibration around abundance
Exactly.
without, denying the reality. It's not all love and light, but
Yeah,
it's
I'm glad you said that because this is going back a few years. I was at a conference and one of the speakers basically said, everything is love and light, everything is easy, everything. And I kind of looked around at the audience and I thought, "Oh, how do people seem to be?" And they seemed extremely quizzical. And I got to meet with the speaker later and I said, There are times that things in life are not quite right yet. That's my expression, not quite right yet. They're going to be more right. They're not right now. Whether it's a health thing, whether it's a money thing, a relationship thing, why can't we acknowledge that? And she
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you're letting more of that in." I said, "Well, I'm letting in reality. And it doesn't mean that I'm sitting here, whoa, doom and gloom, having a pity party. It just means I'm being realistic in the world and going, oh, that's interesting. That's not quite right yet. I can still focus on things that are going well. And I could take that not quite right yet and see if there's anything in my control to make it more right. I just don't agree that if we turn our heads, the thing goes away and it disappears. That's just my personal life experience.
Yeah. And it's good to accept the reality. It's acceptance of what is, not with blame as well.
Exactly.
Like that we're doing something wrong or we're creating it or we're not doing something enough. It's just what is right now that we're moving through to get somewhere else.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? I love talking about blocks and resistance. It was a big part of my work, my previous work with core
Yes.
emotional healing. Um, and I know it's really important, and that's why people need a coach is to work with these. What some other things like perfectionism, imposter syndrome,
There's so much.
parental conditioning.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah.
So we grow up and our well-meaning parents, they say and do things that we let in and we believe is truth because these are our parents, right? The parents know everything. Then we have teachers that give us stories. We have our friends at school as we grow up, and then we have their parents, and then we potentially have clergy. We have all of this built in. So, because we're talking about my dad's story to me, always, my whole life, was you just put your head down, you work really, really hard, and maybe someday you can retire. Okay.
Mm,
I grew up with that story. So, what did I do? Type A, absolutely crazy how to get this degree, then this, and then this. And then I had a million certifications. And still in me, I didn't think I was good enough, right? Not good enough. Another story. So I had all this going on until literally I saw my dad eventually retire after working himself almost sick. And I went, I'm not buying that anymore.
mm,
And I changed my life. So the first thing I want people to breathe in is just because we have these stories doesn't mean they can't be changed. However, you have to become conscious of them. Otherwise, they're running in the background, like a motor. You're not even clear that they're there. So it was one of my stories. The other was that I was never good enough because my sister was Mensa, okay? Ridiculously smart. I hated school. I didn't like books. I didn't like, as you know, I'm a talker. So what did I do? I sat in the class and I talked. And what would happen? Terry would get in trouble. Stop talking, stop talking.
mhm,
So I kept comparing myself. And this is going up till I'm about 30 something to my sister. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. So what did I have to do? I had to be type A. I had to like try and prove myself. And imposter syndrome. No, I am smart. Let me pretend that I'm smart. And then I was at an event one time and a gentleman called me on stage and was doing some muscle testing. And one of the statements he made was, say out loud, I am smart. And my arm just flew down. And he said, what's that about? And I just started sobbing like crazy. I said, well, I believe I'm dumb. And he said, really? How many certifications do
yeah,
you have? What degrees do you have? How many 7 and 8 figure businesses have you? And it hit me. I needed to really take away the comparison. And one last thing, imposter syndrome.
yeah.
I have a client right now. She's been with me for a year. She's brilliant. She is amazing. She does this soul connected coaching and it's phenomenal. Every once in a while, she goes back to this isn't good enough. Who am I to be teaching this? And we kind of have to lovingly, bring her back. And like, that's a story. So I really hope that people take away to become more conscious of your stories. And it is much easier to do that with someone like a coach, consultant, mentor. I'm not going to say a therapist, even though I'm a clinical psychologist, because we don't need to talk about what your parents said. We don't need to go back in history. Positive psychology is take the information we have today and let's move forward with that information. The big
Mhm.
one of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. We have very similar conditioning and past with our fathers, and I had a genius. I still have a genius brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
you get what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and, even just recently, and I'm just like, "Oh, wow, look at all these things that I do," and then it's like, I used to always say, "Wow, he does all these things," and even
Yeah.
recently, I was like, "Wait, I do all those things too."
Mm, mm.
Um,
My husband taught me something years ago. I was comparing myself to my sister. And my
Mm,
husband said, "Let me ask you a question. You're not as book smart as she is, right?" I go, "No, not at all." He goes, "Okay.
mhm,
If I plunked you down in the middle of a big city somewhere in the world and I gave you $100, do you think you would be able to survive?" "Yeah, absolutely." He's like, "Okay. Gonna plunk your sister down and give her the same $100." I went, "Oh my gosh, you wouldn't survive at all." He's like, "Terry, book smart's one thing, living in the real world is something else, and you have that."
yeah,
And that has been huge. That was a priceless gift for me.
yeah, wonderful. Yeah, it's the grit too. It's,
Mm.
I can do it with nothing. Yeah,
Exactly. I love
right.
when somebody says to me, "No, you can't do X." I'm like,
Mhm,
"Oh, I love that. Thank you. Just inspired me to prove that I can." I still have that, like, daddy's girl, got to get the pat on the shoulder. And I do. I love when someone says, "I can't do something." Like, okay,
mhm,
watch me.
right, yeah. Let's talk more about your clients and specifically what they're experiencing, the before and after.
Oh, yeah. So I do like to share examples. So one of my clients comes to an event of mine and she comes up to me at the event and she said, "Well, I'm thinking," you said, well, she's a client for an event only. And she said, "I'm thinking of coming into your program. However, I have been told by SCORE as well as other coaches that my idea is never going to work and it would be a waste." I said, "Well, share your idea with me and I'll tell you what I think." She shared her idea. I just looked her right in the eyes and I meant that. I said, "Well, if you're not going to do that, let me know because I'm going to do that. The world needs it. I'd rather you do it and it will work." So she goes all in on the program. And by the way, it was all about helping moms, stay at home moms, create businesses. And I felt
Oh,
that was such an important gift, right?
yes.
So she goes all in. I help her get a contract with Panera Bread, and Johnson and Johnson was next. She writes her first book. She gets a television show. She has her radio show. Now we'll fast forward. So she was making nothing. So within a year, she made, and this is going back about 20 years ago. So we fast forward, she made about 300 grand. That's 20 years ago.
In her
And
first year?
her first year, her
Wow.
first year. Now she's all in, she's doing the work, right? I always tell people this isn't like, magic bullet. She actually did the work. Her husband becomes deathly ill and needs a kidney. And we're talking, and I said, "You can buy a kidney because he's been on a waiting list." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Look, I heard about this. I'm sure you can figure it out." They buy a kidney. Her husband survives. She's able to be at home taking care of him and their two small boys, all because she had the income to do it.
Ugh.
And today, she operates a community with 360,000 women.
I just got chills.
It's crazy. She has 4 best-selling books. She
Oh,
lives in Puerto Rico half the year, and she works about 20 hours a month, and now she's doing about 3,000,000 a year. Why that case study?
mm,
Because she's not an exception.
mm,
She's the norm if you do the work. So the before is either I have an idea or I have an overwhelming business. And the after is to simplify that into a movement, into a legacy that becomes a company. A business is something that keeps you busy. A company is something that runs without you. And
Mm.
if your why is big enough, Heartrepreneur is my baby, it is my why, then every single day you just live that. And that doesn't mean that I work 40 hours a week. I work about 20 hours a month. However,
Wow.
my why is very strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're helping is it's way more than the money. It's you're impacting their entire life
Yeah.
and their legacy and everyone they're helping.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said more than the money.
Mhm.
When I talk to people who want to come on, that's the first thing I listen for. Are they coming into this because they're transactional and want to create money? Or do they have a strong why, a legacy that I can help them turn into a movement? Heartrepreneur is not Terry Levine. Heartrepreneur is a movement of about 10,000 people that, with me or without me, will continue on. And those are the people I love working with. Got to have a why.
Yeah, yeah. So define legacy.
Ah, to me, legacy is something that continues without you. It's something that you pass on, that you instill, and it could be passed down to your family, passed down to friends, or in my case, passed down to a group of people I don't even know, 10,000 people that have said, I'm a entrepreneur. So to me, I think of it even bigger than, oh, I just want to leave something behind. Your why is so powerful that you don't want to disappear from the planet and have it end because you know that it needs to continue. To me, that is a legacy. And I love to help people create movements. Take your legacy, take what's super important to you, and let's create a movement where people are joining and they want to help share that momentum.
Mm, yeah, wow. Do you see yourself bringing someone in to be you?
I get that question a lot. I do. Um, I am in love with Heartrepreneur. It's my baby, and I love my baby. So I'm not planning to retire. I'm not tired, so I would not,
Right.
not need to do that. Um, if at some point, mentally or physically, I'm not able to, then I guess the company, because it is a company beyond me, can appoint someone. At this point, I do not plan to pass it on to a person. I plan right now to leave it as a movement and enough people are behind it that they can continue the momentum. And most of those people show up and they're just very generous in making the movement go forward. And by the way, I always look at the word generous.
Mm,
Generosity to me is generating and generating and generating beyond yourself. It's having others collectively share in the same momentum.
that's interesting because Jenners came to me today, uh,
Oh,
right, just before this
wow.
meeting with you. I was
Mm,
thinking about the impact I had in other ways and how generous I was outside of my business with just different family and
mm,
relationships and it was like some acknowledgement that I had land within me. So I love
wow.
that.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite words. I
Mm,
just the thought about every time you're generous in some way, shape, or form, you're basically saying to the universe, let's generate more. I have quick story. I was at a restaurant with friends the other night, and there was a group of teenagers. I think there was like 10 of them. They were having a lot of trouble paying this bill in the restaurant. And I overheard one say, well, if I do that, then I can't leave the proper tip. But I said, oh my gosh, I remember struggling for money. And so
mm,
I called the server over and I said, anonymously, just give me their bill. I got their bill.
mm.
And then I walked out, and then I got in the car, and my girlfriend said, "You don't want credit for that?" I said, "I don't need credit for it. The fact that I was just generous is going to help those young people be generous when and if they can. So I'm generating more generosity." And that
It's
just felt really good.
It's so true
Yeah,
because when I had no money and people were there for me at different times in my life, I always have that in mind when I have money and people need money. It's
exactly.
yeah, Yeah.
exactly. And it just feels really good. Years and years and years ago in New Jersey, where there's just tolls everywhere. Back in the day, they were like 25 cents, and now they're $8. I
Yeah.
could not, no matter what I did in the bottom of my purse, I couldn't scrounge up 25 cents. And I'm sitting at the thing going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And the guy behind me gets out of his car. He runs up and he said, I'm paying for her toll. I said, oh, thanks. That's because I'm taking so long. He said, no, it's because I want to. Smiled at
Oh,
me back in his car. And that was like a little drop of a lesson of, yeah, I want to be good and do the same thing and generous.
yeah. Pay it forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you want to share as we're wrapping up about AI, just what's happening and how you, people like that are getting lazy and want to use it, or they feel seen and they're not really? Do you want to explore some of
Oh,
that?
I definitely do. Like, this is the thing I'm on a soapbox about. So the problem has become that people are relying on AI for everything. I can look at social media and in 1 second, I can know if somebody wrote that or AI wrote it. And I think everyone is onto it now. I don't want to read AI. I
Hmm.
want to hear your voice and your words and your philosophy and your thoughts. Because if I'm going to hire someone or if I'm going to joint venture with someone or appear on a podcast or going to come on mine, I want to know the real person. But we could all do prompts and generate, by the way, it generates a lot of the same stuff. So I
Hmm.
see the same stuff. In addition, if you're going to hide behind AI as your photo or your video, you're not being authentic with me. So that bothers me. What else bothers me, and I really feel strongly about this, is if you have a human brain that is functional. I used to be a speech language pathologist, and I've done years of working with people with traumatic brain injuries.
Ugh. Oh.
If you don't use your brain and use it regularly, you develop gray matter. And gray matter in your brain develops into things like dementia. So while I have my human brain and while it's functional, I use my own brain all the time. Years ago, I was in a wheelchair for a neurological disease for 18 months. And when I started walking, I made a commitment. I will take stairs to honor the fact that I have legs and I appreciate them. And my friends will be like, you're going to walk up all 7 flights? I'm like, yep, while I have working legs, I'm going to thank the creator for giving them to me. So that's another thing is embracing we're human beings having human experiences. Embrace that. And then the last part of my pet peeve are data centers. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think people realize what they're doing to the planet. Your one prompt is equivalent to making an entire bottle of water black and filthy.
Mm,
One prompt. Now imagine if you're using AI and prompting every day, and so are thousands of your clients. Imagine what you're doing. Here
yeah.
in Pennsylvania, I think the governor's going to block me at some point because every time I see the governor post something, I don't care what he posts, I just put no data centers, no data centers. We are literally ruining the experience of our planet for ourselves, our children, our grandchildren. So if you care about the planet, if you truly care about doing business as a heartrepreneur, AI is either used in a limited way or not at all. End of
Excellent.
speech.
Thank you so much for putting it that way for people to understand. There's two things that you're bringing awareness to, which is the lack of connection. No, three things. The lack of connection. We cannot connect with people if you're using what AI generated. If is it words, pictures, whatever, we can't connect. No, the people cannot connect with you. Is it
Right.
so much better to just do all lower cases with some all caps, with dot, 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 with making mistakes or whatever, and because then people are like, it's a real person, and they're just expressing themselves. So there's that. And then matter. So using your brain, and I see this, and I see the tendency because it's so tempting to just go help me with this, da da da, and so it's so
Mm,
important to, if you have that tendency or habit now,
mm,
to go to yourself first.
yeah. And it's, it's some people have just adopted it for everything. It's
Mhm,
overused.
mhm,
If you're doing research, okay, I can see it. When it comes to asking it to write or think for you, I don't recommend it. And it can do a lot of damage in searches because it gives wrong information. It
mhm,
relies on information on Wikipedia and Reddit. It's not factual.
right,
Canada is now suing all these AI companies for giving wrong information. I talked to somebody the other day who's getting her healthcare information from ChatGPT. I'm like, excuse me? She said, well, it told me that I should have this one supplement. And it's a supplement I happen to be familiar with. I said, I have a client who's a naturopath. Let me send you an article on what that supplement, the other effects that you didn't know. She freaked out. She said, well, I spent like $300 on the supplement. I go, because you have to ask someone versus a robot. And it's
mhm,
interesting to me how quickly, as human beings, we just went, oh, yeah, okay, good. Do all the thinking for me and I'll do nothing.
right.
That's very lazy.
Yeah, and people have replaced Google searches even with
Yeah,
using AI. So again, it's the third point is it's using resources
exactly.
way more than, a Google search. So if you're gonna do anything, just search Google for the name of that museum or
Right,
whatever, how to,
right.
uh, to be aware and conscious and conserve the resources, to use, AI less and to use it consciously. Uh,
Consciously, yes.
yeah, yeah, and like you said, there are uses if you need something summarized or a research about something, but not advice. People are using it for business strategy.
It really does. It blows me away. I was talking to a client and she had hired what she thought was a business consultant for a lot of money, like 30 grand. And she was on sessions with what appeared to be him,
Mm.
asking questions and getting some really weird answers. And she said, what is up with this? So she said, let me send you like the latest Zoom. I watched that for about 5 minutes and I went, that's not him. That's AI.
Wow.
I said, "Go challenge him on that. I'm telling you, it's AI." So she went and she said, "When I'm on these Zooms, is it you?" He said, "I don't have time to work with that many clients." "No, you're talking to AI." "Oh yeah, I'm going to pay you $25,000 to have AI coach me." I could
Oof.
not believe it. Yeah, I hope that's like the one and only, and that a bunch of people aren't doing that.
I think a lot of people are doing it. I've heard from, someone who had known someone that they were working with that paid 2,500 for branding, you know? It's like AI branding for their business. Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah. It's something I share a passion for and see and feel completely.
gotcha.
So thank you. And that was a great, any last thing you want to share? But as we close out, what is one heart to heart truth you wish every entrepreneur listening today would start living by tomorrow?
For me, it's going to sound very simplistic, and it's just what changed my life. It's gratitude. No
Hmm.
matter what happens or what shows up in my life. As you know, I've had a concussion, other things happen. My husband had a major surgery. He's not doing that well. I don't show up complaining about that. I show up going, let me find the gift in this. There's a gift. Let me look for the gift. And every single day in the morning, I start with gratitudes. And every single night before I go to bed, I end with gratitudes. And if something is a little bit off, this happened a few months ago. I don't know what was going on. I could not log into Facebook. No matter what I did, Facebook would just sit there on every machine. And I said, okay, I'm going to shut it all down. I'm just going to take a few moments and give gratitude for my Facebook community that I love so much and that I want to engage with, and then opened up and everything worked. And it sounds miraculous and potentially it is. I just know that we'll come from a place of gratitude the universe conspires to work with me.
Yeah. I love that. It's so beautiful and perfect and impactful. Gratitude is life changing when you remember to incorporate it daily, and it does bring more
Yes, it
for
does.
sure. Thank you for sharing that, for reminding people as well. We all need reminders. We all need more gratitude now. And I know our listeners are going to want to connect with you heart to heart. What is the best place for them to connect with you? Where do they start?
If they are on Facebook, 100% go join the community. It's at Heartrepreneurs, so an S at the end, heartrepreneurs.com. There's about 10,000 people in there. You'll get lessons, free training, free gifts, motivation. You can be interviewed in there and get in front of the entire community. Or if they're on LinkedIn, just my name, Terri Levine.
Okay, so I will include those links. The free Facebook group, the name of the Facebook group,
So
the
it's
free.
heartrepreneurs.com. Just go to
Oh, and that links to the Facebook group. Okay.
www.heartrepreneurs.com. It brings you right over to the
Okay,
group.
just wanted to clarify.
Sure.
Great. Yes, it's free. So join the Facebook group and you can experience Terry's trainings and and start to learn from her for free now. So
Yes.
definitely do that. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Terry. Thank you so
Oh,
much
thank
for
you
being
for having
here.
me. Thank you. It was really a blast. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. So much resonance with what you do and who you are. And I love sharing you. Your work is so important in the world, especially right now. So thank you. And thank you for leaving the legacy of heart leaders and for uh, being here on the Resource 5 and sharing your
Thanks for having me.
wisdom to everyone. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you all for listening and learning about the resources who can help you heal, be aligned with your soul, and help you share your gifts with the world. If you want a referral to a resource, or if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on my website, aliciawoodford.com. There's a contact in the nav bar, there's a form. You can just fill out what you're looking for, and I will personally respond and give you what you need. So, if you love having access to these vetted, trusted resources and learning from them on the podcast, please rate wherever you're listening to them. And you can leave a review so other people can find it, and we can share and pay it forward. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.